I woke up on a cold concrete slab. It was hard, harder than any bed I'd ever slept on, and I could feel the ridges of the rough surface biting into my back. My mouth was dry. My head pounded like I'd been hit with something heavy. I blinked a few times. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, flickering faintly like they were as tired as I was. My hands were cuffed. My feet were shackled. There was a metallic taste in my mouth. And I was in a prison cell. I'm not a criminal. I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian my whole life, a father of two. I lead a small men's Bible study every Thursday night in my garage. I pray with my wife every morning before work. I make sure to hold the door for strangers and return my shopping cart at the grocery store. But here I was, in chains. It took me a few moments to sit up. Every movement echoed a dull ache through my spine and limbs. My clothes weren't mine. They were orange, thin, scratchy. A number was printed across the chest, 876991. There was a small window up high on the wall with thick steel bars across it. No sunlight, just a dim gray glow. Probably a parking lot light. Maybe dusk or dawn. I called out, "Hello." No one answered. Eventually, someone did come. A guard, bald, tattoos crawling up his neck like vines. He didn't say much, just slid a tray of food through the slot and moved on. I tried asking questions. Why am I here? Where's my wife? What happened? Nothing. He just looked at me like I was a worm on the pavement. No curiosity, no pity, just emptiness. The days bled together. No clocks, no calendar, no sense of time. I tried praying. That first week, I prayed like I was on fire. Our Father, who art in heaven. I said it over and over. I cried. I wept. I recited Psalm 23 so often that I began to hear it echo back to me, whispering from the cracks in the cinderblock walls. They assigned me a lawyer. Her name was Kristen. Stern, but not unkind. She sat down on the opposite side of the glass and said, "You need to prepare for sentencing." Sentencing for what? I asked. She just looked at me, blinked, then said, "I need you to understand this is serious. They're seeking the death penalty." I laughed, out loud. I laughed because it was absurd. I'm just a regular guy. I work at an HVAC company. I mow my lawn every Saturday morning. I call my mom every Sunday after church. But she didn't laugh. She slid a folder toward the glass. "You confessed," she said. "I what?" She opened the folder. Inside was a transcript. There, in black and white, were words in my handwriting. A confession, pages of it, detailed, rambling. Terrible things I apparently said I did. I had never seen those pages before. I couldn't sleep after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my kids' faces. My son Jacob, with his goofy grin and grass-stained knees. My daughter Lily, who always made me those crayon drawings that said, "I love you, Daddy." What kind of man wakes up one morning and finds out he's no longer the father who tucks his children in at night, but a murderer sentenced to die? But that's the thing. No one ever told me what I did. Every time I asked Kristen, she said, "I don't think it's good for you to know." When I demanded to see the evidence, she just shook her head and said, "It's overwhelming." When I screamed at the guards, they laughed and said, You're lucky you don't remember." Even the other inmates wouldn't speak to me. They'd flinch when I walked past. One guy muttered something once under his breath as I was escorted down the corridor. "Monster!" he whispered. I asked for a Bible. It arrived a few days later, worn and soft from use. Pages dog-eared. A note was tucked inside the front cover. "You don't belong here. He knows. Stay strong." P. No return name. No explanation. The guard who delivered it shrugged and said it came through official channels. I clung to that Bible like a lifeline. I read Job. I read Lamentations. I tried to remind myself that God sees the heart, that even if man judges, God knows the truth. But what if I really did it? What if something snapped? What if there's a piece of me buried somewhere deep inside that's evil? The nightmares started after that. They always began the same. I'm standing in a field behind a house I don't recognize. The sky is red. The grass is black. There's a figure standing far off watching me. I can't see its face, but it has my posture, my stance. I call out, "Who are you?" It doesn't speak. It just raises one arm and points behind me. I turn, and there's a pit, deep, bottomless. Screams echo from the darkness. When I look back, the figure is gone. The night before the execution, Kristen visited one last time. "I tried everything," she said quietly. "Appeals, motions, they won't budge." I asked her again, "What did I do?" This time, she looked at me, really looked. Then she said, "Maybe it's better if you don't remember. Some sins are too heavy to carry." They gave me my last meal: fried chicken, mashed potatoes, a slice of pecan pie. I didn't ask for it. They just brought it. Strange how they'll poison you with mercy before they put a needle in your arm. I didn't eat much, just held the fork, stared at my reflection in the metal tray, wondered if this was really it. A priest came by, asked if I wanted final prayers. I said yes. He looked young, too young to be facing down death. He fumbled through the rites, then asked if I had any last words. I said, "Tell my family I love them." He nodded, started to leave, then turned back and said, "You didn't scream like the others did. Not during trial. Not even now. That's rare." "I don't remember anything," I said. "Doesn't feel real." He paused, then muttered under his breath, almost like he was afraid I'd hear, "That's what they all say. The ones from Cell 9. "Cell 9? He looked pale. "There's no Cell 9 on the prison records, but every few years someone wakes up in it. Same story. No memory. Death row. They always get executed." "Why?" He swallowed. Maybe it's not about what you did. Maybe it's about what you are." They walked me down the corridor. The guards were silent. No mocking this time. No laughter. Just a strange quiet, like even they didn't understand. I passed by other inmates. Some crossed themselves. Others turned their backs. And then I saw it. At the end of the hall, just before the chamber, etched faintly into the stone wall, "He knows." The same words from the Bible note. The execution chamber was colder than my cell. They strapped me down, asked if I had any last words. I looked up at the ceiling, thought about my wife, my kids, the life I thought I had, and I said, I still don't know what I did. The warden gave the signal. The needle pierced my arm. My vision blurred. My breath slowed. And just before the dark took me, I swear I saw him. That figure from the dream, standing at the edge of the chamber, watching me, wearing my face, smiling. No one ever said what I did. No one ever will. But Cell 9 is ready again. And someone else is about to wake up.
Thanks for watching Creepy Chronicles at Night. Subscribe if you dare.